I'm back in St Neots again, but it's not St Neots that I'm going to explore today. It's the former village of Eynesbury, because I'm on the trail of the Eynesbury Giant, one of the tallest men who has ever lived. It's nice to be back in St Neots on this lovely sunny day, and this is the Coney Gear Bridge, which was constructed back in 1972. And it spans the River Great Ouse. Absolutely beautiful river to look at, especially on a sunny morning. Most pleasant to walk down here. There's a lot of green patches in most towns and cities if you know where to look. And this is one of the better ones. Really rather nice. But the former village of Eynesbury has been swallowed up by the urban sprawl of St Neots, which stretches all the way down towards Eton-Soken. But you can still see its village layout. We'll see that as we get into Eynesbury itself. There's been archaeological evidence of settlement on this location going back about 5,000 years, all the way to the Bronze Age. And Eynesbury was mentioned in the Domesday Survey of 1087, listing two manors with an income around £47 a year. Population around 250 to 300 people. And a manor was a unit of land holding, of local administration under the Normans. I'm going to follow this little green area and this path ahead of me into Eynesbury and discover the story of the giant. My friends have told me to go and find the village sign, so that's what we're going to do, because there's a picture of him on the village sign. So let's walk through here and discover Eynesbury. And this is the old cemetery from St Mary's Church, closed on the 1st of September 1857. It's been a bit neglected over the time. Let's try and read some of the headstones. James Gray died 4th of November 1901, aged 66 years. And his wife Susan died on the 18th of January 1902, aged 72. Nice, it's readable. There's a few children's gravestones as well. You can see the smaller stones, they're the children's ones. A lot of infant mortality in the late 19th and earlier 20th century. Another one here, can't read it, but Albert Harvey died November the 9th, 1907, aged 37 years. Gosh, no age at all. There's a view there, the gravestones that have fallen over. I've seen a lot of cemeteries as I walk around Europe. It's nice to visit these old ones, but this one's just been left to decay, which is a great shame. There's a gravestone here, Anthony Waterall, departed this life November 23rd, 1868, aged 63 years. It's interesting looking at these stones. Some are legible and some are not, which is a great shame. But looking at some of the different ages as well, right from the very young in their 30s up to their 60s and 70s. Just wondered who they were and how they lived and what they did during their short life. But let's walk up towards the church and discover the story of the Eynesbury Giant. There are a couple of famous connections to Eynesbury. The St Neots Quads were born here in 1935 in Ferrers Avenue. And I covered their story in one of my videos from St Neots. I'll leave a link to that video at the end of this one. But it's the story of James Toller, the Eynesbury Giant, that I want to investigate today. Because not only was he born in Eynesbury, but he's also buried here as well. So I'll show you both locations. But it's an interesting story for James Toller, one of the tallest men who has ever lived. He was 8 feet 1.5 inches, but some say he was about 8 feet 6, which is only a few inches short of 8 foot 11, which was held by the tallest man who ever lived, a man called Robert Wadlow. So we're going to go find his birthplace as we walk here into to Eynesbury. On the left is the old school. You can see on the top where the bell used to be, and a date of 1868. It closed down quite a few years ago and is now a residential house. And I've just been talking to an elderly gentleman who was actually a pupil of the school. So it's really nice to talk to him and listen to his stories. He's telling me about the various members of staff who used to teach there 80 odd years ago when he was a pupil. Absolutely amazing, the people I bump into when I'm out and about visiting different locations. And that's why I love making videos, is to talk to some of these people, local people who have these wonderful memories of days gone by. It's just a shame I didn't have my camera on at the time. It would have been so nice to capture that on camera. But just down here is the birthplace of James Toller. And here we are, this is the plaque. James Toller, 1798 to 1818. Over 8 feet tall, known as the Eynesbury Giant. Lived here in Rectory Lane, Eynesbury, and buried inside the church. He was born here. This is Rectory Lane, and his house, well, it no longer exists, but just down where the car park is, just behind me, is where his house stood. It's nice that they put a plaque up to commemorate him, but he is actually buried in the church. So let's wander across and find his grave. Because there's an interesting story about James. And it said that he could walk along the street and chat to the residents who were in the upstairs windows of their house. He was that tall. He's just a few inches shorter of Robert Wadlow's height, and he's the tallest man who has ever lived. Really interesting to see that plaque. And here is the church. There's been a church on the site since before 1086. This church dates from the 12th century. It was rebuilt in 1688 and again underwent restoration back in 1857. The tower fell down on the 3rd of March 1685, destroyed the chancel and much of the nave. I guess that's why it's rebuilt. But it's still undergoing maintenance today as workmen with ladders up the tower doing some more repairs. But it's a beautiful building to look at it, and there's a war memorial as well, in memory of the brave men and women of Eynesbury who gave their lives in the 1939-1945 war. Nice memorial plaque there. And as one of the names there is Private Henry Fisher. He died a Japanese prisoner of war, aged 30, on the 17th of September in 1943. He was captured on the 15th of February 1942 at the fall of Singapore. This church has two interesting former rectors. The first was Thomas Barton, and he was rector from 1629 to 1631. He was also chaplain to Prince Rupert of the Rhine, who was the Duke of Cumberland. He was an English-German army officer and colonial governor, and he first rose to prominence as a royalist cavalry commander during the English Civil War. I came across him the other week when I was up in Eynesbury. He fought with King Charles against the parliamentarian army. And he was the son of German Prince Frederick V and Elizabeth, who was the eldest daughter of James VI of Scotland or James I of England. So he's quite a notable man. But Thomas Barton, the rector here, was the chaplain to Prince Rupert. And there was William Cole, who was a rector from 1768 to 1808. He was also an historian, known for his extensive manuscript collections on the history of Cambridgeshire and Buckinghamshire. And quite a few rectors made notable contributions to the history of the parishes that they administered to. So we have another one here in William Cole. There's a list of rectors inside on the rector's board which go back to 1086. Very nice to look at this church. Lovely brickwork and stonework. I tell it's an old church just by looking at it. Really pleasant. And it's pleasant inside as well. I've just had a walk inside. And they have some pews in there which date from the 15th century. Very old pews, and it's really nice to see them. Normally pews of that age don't survive, but these ones have, and it's they're in remarkably good condition given their age. But there's a memorial plaque on the floor to James Toller, the Eynesbury Giant, who is actually buried somewhere in the church, not necessarily where the plaque is. His location isn't recorded, but it's somewhere inside the church, and they have put a plaque on the floor to commemorate him, which is nice. So he's safe, and his body isn't going to be dug up by resurrectionists or anybody else, anatomists, who want to study his skeleton. And even Robert Rodlow, when he was buried, he was encased in concrete so that his body could not be dug up. Sad state of affairs when you have to do that to somebody in order to protect them once they've passed away. I'm going to take a walk around the village, what remains of the village, and try and find the sign, the village sign, because there's a picture of James Toller on that sign. So let's go and see if we can find it. Walk down one of these back streets, rows of terraced houses. This street is called Luke Street. And it was here that a soldier of the Great War used to live. John Charles Howe was a private in the Bedfordshire Regiment. He was wounded at the Battle of the Somme and died on the 14th of September 1916. He lived at number 6 Luke Street, which is the house behind me. But it's obviously not that house. This one looks too modern. His house doesn't exist anymore. But I've walked up now to the village green. Even though we're in St Neots, Eynesbury still does retain its sort of village character. It really is rather pleasant here. And across the way is the village sign that I've come to see. It's rather splendid, actually. Let's go and take a closer look. And here we are, the Eynesbury sign. You can see there James Toller, the church, and a Roman centurion. Used to be a Roman military station in Eynesbury. There were others down the road at Sandy and at Manchester, just to the north. I think it's hard pushed to find a place in England that wasn't touched by the Romans in some way, be it a villa, a fort, or a road, or some other connection. But it's nice to see the village sign, and as village signs go, it's a really nice one, and a really good depiction there of the centurion and of James Toller, who died here in Eynesbury on the 4th of February 1818, and buried somewhere in the church. Absolutely lovely to see, to walk around here and to see the locations connected to James, and also that cemetery as well. We spotted at the beginning of the video, and of course the River Great Ouse. Really nice to have a walk around. But there we go. I'm going to end the video here by the village sign. If you want to know more about Eynesbury, St Neots or Eton Socon, which is all in the same sort of area, I've got videos on all of those locations on my channel, including the lost castle of Eton Socon, which I tried to find last year. So that was interesting day out there to find that castle. But this is where I end the video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and follow my journey, because there's plenty more to come on my channel and plenty more videos that I still have to edit. Keeps me busy. Thanks for watching.